This is Fanspeak. All right, well, hello everybody. How you doing out there today? Having a little bit of trouble there with the intro. I do apologize, but that's okay. Nice to see you all in here today. Thank you for joining us. Now, as you see, we have TFT, weather phenomena. Now, there's a lot of things you could talk about with that, I am sure. But we're going to kind of get into what we think about some of these weird, strange things that happen around the world, whether they be unexplained phenomena or potentially government involved. Of course, you see I'm joined by George. How you doing, George?
Greetings. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to this forecast.
Jokes. Well, once again, I actually went with the Streamlabs and I tried to fix the thing with the chat, but nope, doesn't wanna. So I got to keep jumping back over the other side. Oh well, George, it is what it is. I suppose I can't figure out where they hit it on me, dude. They went and hid the chat on me. I
Okay,
feel.
how about I jump over and I monitor the chat while you keep talking.
Yeah, that would be very handy, dude. Because I do. It is bizarre me talking because I usually can see the chat and I can interact with it at the moment, you know. But that's all right. If you could do that, that would be most appreciated. But anyway, guys, we are going to be talking about weather phenomena today here on TFT, and we really appreciate you guys being here. Of course, do keep in mind we have our links down below. Please check them out and become part of them. If you want to be part of the a TFT show or anything else like that, or you have good ideas for a TFT show, just hit me up on Twitter, and we'll get you involved, man, because that's what we like to do. But we also have our share button there. If you could hit that and let people know what's going on so they come over here and join us, we'd appreciate that as well. But yeah, George and chat, we are talking about strange weather things. And, strange things in the sky kind of covers a huge, huge category, George.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And one thing I'm looking forward to is what's the price of tea in China when it comes to all this weather? Is it really affecting us, or is it just one big, how should we say, advertising mess? Hey,
Well,
look,
I
stuff in the sky.
guess you mean a distraction is what you're trying to say. I get you.
Oh, distraction. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
that's the word. Yeah. Hey, you never know. Maybe we could just certainly discuss that. But for me, this type of weather phenomena, this conversation today, it falls into really three categories. I think. One, you have the unidentified object, right? Now, of course, that would cover things like the UFO, angels flying and fighting in the sky. You've seen that video? That was pretty cool.
Yes.
Pegasi flying around, glowing white Pegasi, those kind of things. That you got that category. Then the other phenomena you have, I think, is like strange fluctuations on the moon and double suns and seemingly planets hanging in the sky, things like that. That's like another category. And then the last category is stuff that's seems to be governmentally attached, which is things like HARP and of course chemtrails. I think we can split those into those three pretty easily, and I'm sure you guys have ideas how else we can break it up. But let's jump over and kind of do my primer that I always do, and we can take a look at that, and then that'll give us an opportunity to discuss stuff. So
Well, we
let's.
have in the chat before you do that
Hmm.
Kronos,
Hmm.
and he's talking about the ionosphere and where enough electrons exist, anything could happen, including HARP. He's getting so technical. Cronus, why don't you jump in here? Why don't you have a look at what we're doing?
Yeah, no,
Maybe
because
maybe
this is not a category that I am super super vetted on, to be honest with you. I'm going to make
yeah.
a good old college try though.
Let's see. Right now, I am
Well,
sharing my screen,
yeah. Well,
and I
I'm
think you
I'm
can see
actually
it.
on the other side, George. So,
Oh, you are?
yeah, yeah, yeah. If he's interested in coming in, you can handle that on the backside pretty easy, I think.
Okay.
Uh, all right, let me come here and do my primer while you taking a look into doing that. Now, of course, HARP is a big one. It's what started the conversation, what got us to do this today. And we're going to talk about HARP in a moment, what it's supposed to be. I think HARP is one of those weird things because, as you see here, it's high frequency active auroral research program. So this is really supposedly looking at stuff that's up in the high atmosphere and doing testing is the whole point of it, I guess. And of course, we have people laying out these supposedly secret HARP bases and how they set them up with all the different uh, apparatus that are part of this system. And of course, the accusation is that what it actually does is control weather and can create flooding and stuff over specific areas. And also, I've heard accusations of HARP causing earthquakes, right? And that actually subways or subways, what? Yeah, submarines. Sorry about that. Or even large military vehicle, the vessels can carry this type of technology and sit offshore and attack places, with this weather or this earthquakes and stuff. Now, it's pretty extraordinary claims, really, but if you think about this and for just a moment and you know your history at all, you know that this is not as outrageous as it sounds because you got to keep in mind Mr. Nikola Tesla was talking about weather control way back. Way back. And there is some evidence to show that he was actually doing weather manipulation in New York City, of all places, oddly enough. So the concept of weather control, I don't know much about the earthquake one, but I suppose it's possible. But weather control is not that weird. I mean, we actually do have acknowledged weather control when you talk about seeding a cloud, and they will do that to create rain in an area that needs it or what have you. So it's not that outrageous a conversation. The earthquake thing, I think, is a little bit more difficult. Particularly, there's a lot of research going on right now that is showing that the sun itself is the biggest contributor to earthquakes on the planet, and there's a system that's over 90% accurate in predicting earthquakes with this model. So that's I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But it's part of the conversation. So. And of course, the next thing, of course, is chemtrails, and this one's is really bizarre to me, guys, because just keep in mind, guys, I'm kind of going through my spiel. I'm not really looking at the chat right now, but this is a bizarre one because I have seen thousands of pictures and videos and stuff of people talking and complaining about this, and it's weird. When I was a kid in America, I remember seeing the airplane, and sure, they leave these little trails, but they go away almost immediately, right? They don't last. I mean, they only could stretch a certain amount of the sky before they were just, gone at the end. But you see here, these things stay up there, and they stay up there quite a while, actually, very long time. So it's obviously different. Is it simply something different with the commercial aircraft or what have you? But it seems quite intentional. Now and especially me living here in Japan, like I said, I even though I'm in a little village, I'm on a flight path that turns from Kyushu going to the Honshu. It's directly over the city I'm attached to here. So we have airplanes going all over the time, and they're real high. They're 30,000 feet up, but we see them all the time, and they might have a little powdery trail behind them, but that's about it. It goes away immediately. So it is bizarre. It is really bizarre. People have made many accusations of why this is happening. There have been I'm going to go read a wiki article on it here in a moment, but there's certain type of metals or stuff that's supposed to be in it that people are seeing higher levels of these metals showing up. And of course, some people are saying that they're doing it to try to deal with global warming. Other people are saying they're trying to hide these planets that are supposedly showing up in the sky. And I don't know about planets, but I've certainly seen a double sun, which is bizarre. And I'm not talking about no sundog either, right? But yeah, chemtrails is a big one. It's a really big one, and it is. I don't know. I think it's a fair dinkum, as Booster would say. Maybe. I like this one too because this looks like an overhead shot of one. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. But speaking of double suns and stuff like that, I mean, here's a picture of one, and of course you can go on the internet and find hundreds, if not thousands, of these pictures. Excuse me, from all over the world, right? And it's weird, and I understand a sundog is a sundog, and you can tell it's a sundog very clearly. A sundog looks like there's some kind of refraction off of glass or something, and it's circular around the sun. It's it's a very specific thing you can recognize easily. This isn't that. And like I said, as you know as well as I do, there are hundreds of these images and videos, and I really wish someone would explain it because it's
Well,
it's something.
it's sunlight reflecting off of the moon, reflecting onto
No,
the surface of the Earth. Of course,
no,
that's what
it's
it
not.
is.
It's certainly not. I've even seen news reporters sitting there doing their report, and the double sun sitting in the back, and they didn't even realize it. They were just sitting there,
Well,
Oh,
there is a kind of
chronosphere.
an optical illusion thing that can occur at some of these points, and
Sure.
that's part of the. When you look at some of these old reports, okay, I had a friend, the guy in the actual video from the 90s when
Hmm.
he went down to Alaska. Okay, that was somebody I personally knew, and they confronted the guy that ran HARP, and this guy looked so guilty, and he just looked like he was scared, and just that news article when that ran, that's what started the process of getting it shut down for a while.
For HARP.
Was yeah, for HARP. That's just the example of how they an optic, right, for what you're talking about is not the same as what comes later of, oh, there, is some fanciful stuff that came out. These are actual people that went and did the math, looked at the
Uh-huh.
science, and said, this can be a weapon. All right. And they showed it. And the guy looked scared shitless. Oh, they caught us. He had that look on his face, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
oops.
that's one of the comments that Tesla had made was that this is a weapon, right? It's a potential
Yeah.
weapon because one of the things he was doing was, because the whole wireless power thing was Tesla. It's not a new thing; it's an old thing,
Well,
and he was actually demonstrating how he could target lightning anywhere he wanted, right?
we'll see. This is with the 5G stuff, right? That's going to be coming down the pipes. I look at where I know about how light is in the spectrums. Like you have the gamma rays, and it gets less back down to the visible spectrum. Okay, where it's
Hmm.
less harmful. When you go towards this 5G, it's getting into where your bloody microwaves are.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
you're getting closer to cooking my head, and like, am I going to be sitting in my room one day and they could just go, you know what I mean, with a beam? They
Oh
could,
well, maybe.
I
Yeah.
suppose, but it's just you scratch your head going, why don't we just make better internet locally on the ground here for
Well,
everyone?
that's what they're trying to do now is put 5G, the thing that actually burns your cells, available in every lamppost in the city.
Well, it's not quite there. I'll just say this: what I've seen in the specs is it's not quite there, but long term, it could be affect you, kind of thing, right? Like you think you put your cup in the water in the microwave, it boils the water, right? What are
Sure.
we made mostly of? Water,
Yeah,
but you
but
don't
the
put your
interesting,
cup in the microwave for like a year and have it cook, right?
Right.
You don't
yeah,
see that, right? And what you
yeah, but
don't see,
here's the thing.
no
Here,
problem, right? That's how they think. They don't
Yeah.
care.
well, yeah, no, but here's the thing. They're selling this technology based on, well, one person is not going to get fried with this 5G. Uh, that's their science that they're
Hey,
using to put.
George
But the
Burns
thing,
smoked
but what happens
cigars.
when you're in a bus of 50 people, or in a
Yeah.
stadium of several thousand people? That's a completely different story.
Yeah, well,
I
I
know,
mean,
and it's
having some kind of laser beam weapon or whatever it is,
you don't see lasers, eh?
Cesar.
That's the other thing, eh? That's one of the
Yeah.
other things. It's not a science fiction movie where see this
Well,
is the
no,
thing to
Cesar
separate.
is
Like
Cesar is
I
more
used to
important,
go,
I'd say.
I used to actually go and pretend I was one of those flat earthers, and I'd troll people, but I'd be clever at doing it to make people. And then I realized this really isn't a good thing to be doing because you're not helping anyone if you convince them that it's real, you know?
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
that's the thing. There's a lot of fake crap out there. And when it comes to, you know, what this program really wanted to do was to tap the electricity in the ionosphere and bring it down to where they could tap it and then give us a new energy source. That's good.
Right.
But
But once again,
it's
Tesla, which is why everyone connects HARP to
uh,
Tesla, right?
we're not talking about nice people doing nice things all the time,
Oh,
right?
that is a problem. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let me finish the primer here, and we'll come back over and we'll go
Sorry.
one by one. Let's see, where was I? Double suns, and very
Yeah,
interesting. Very interesting. Of course, the planets in the sky thing is once again hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos and videos from just normal people. It's a bizarre phenomena, and is something, what is it? What's going on? And it's not an old phenomena. It's a new phenomena, right? And of course, I think one of the I'll get to that in a moment, but it's interesting, right?
that's
Uh,
trippy
and
looking.
then it is, and then of course you have this is not Photoshop, by the way. That is
This
an
I might be
actual
able to
spin.
have a little thing on.
Cool,
There
cool.
was a new phenomenon that was discovered at the ISS station when
Uh
they
huh.
were up there, and they didn't release a lot of this until later. It's that's actually lightning.
That would
Yeah,
be
and you
cool.
and
Never seen that
you'll be
before.
thinking, how the hell does it do this? Well, they actually have little videos of some of that stuff happening, but it's
Hmm.
so rare that
I don't know. It
it
sounds
had to
like an
go for
that sounds like an explanation to me, dude. Because I saw
a
the video
time
on this.
lapse
This is
situation where
over.
they showed it.
Well, no, this was
And
over
the lightning
Norway.
doesn't travel from the ground. It goes the opposite way that you think lightning goes, and it was
Yep.
really weird. And they went into this the where it gets scientific-y, and I wasn't. It
Yeah,
was
but
late at
the
night looking at that.
I've seen the video on this, and this is
Yeah.
slow. It's not fast. It is
Oh, really?
growing and spiraling right in front of you as if some gate was opening, and then it went away. And it was not a short process. It took a long time. It was very slow. There was no speed to it. Lightning is something that happens at light speed,
Oh, yeah.
right? This is
Well, see, they could
certainly
have
not
doctored
lightning.
your what you saw to be slowed down. Like that might be, because
Mm,
without having seen the
maybe.
whole video, right? I
No,
used to
no.
go to some UFO sites and debunk them. Eh? That was
I see.
me and a guy just got tired of looking at BS stuff, right? And we did find some stuff that you can't explain. So
Well, how about
it's
this
out
one
there. It
then?
could be.
Let's
It
take a
could
look
be.
at these then. Now we've had
Oh, that's
some very
holy.
interesting cloud patterns over the past few years, and
Oh,
a
that's
couple
wild.
of them were actually
Okay.
monitored as actually looping the entire planet as a solid ribbon. Now that
What
is
the
something
hell?
I've never heard of before, and that was documented too. This
Me
isn't
either.
people's opinion. This was documented by weather services. Then we've seen this several times now. These just sometimes, like I said, there was one that documented looping the planet, but there's others that go thousands of miles. Just these round tunnel clouds that just go on forever. Right? It's a very
That would be a string. So if you happen to fall into it, you'll probably get your heart's content.
Well, that would the
thank you,
way those
George.
clouds are. The atmosphere is lower where there's no clouds. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's like the atmosphere is being wrinkled.
It is weird.
Okay, like
What
technically, that's what's happening there.
Yeah, well,
That's weird.
which brings me to my last point that I wanted to make in this primer before we come over and start talking about whatever we want to talk about. We talk about global warming. Well, some people
Oh,
do.
hold that thought for a moment. That could be a physical manifestation of a gravimetric occurrence
Yeah, like a
of a
gravity
gravity
wave,
wave.
as they call them
Yeah,
now, or whatever they found.
Yeah,
because
Something.
you can't see the effect in air, but you can see the effect in gas, water, and physical Earth.
well,
It
which is
it'd be awful
potential.
close then.
But so let me finish this last point. um, uh, this is something that's kind of interesting with global warming, right? Because there's two things that are being talked about in space, and interestingly enough, NASA is acknowledging and then not acknowledging at the same time, which is kind of a NASA thing to do. But keep in mind with this global warming stuff, we have been warming for a while, little by little, very small increments and especially the past, I don't know, 40 years or so. There has been a certain
Actually been
increase.
going on a lot longer than that, but
Well,
anyway.
you can take it back to even
Right
from
from
the
the
Ice
last
Age. Yeah,
ice age,
that's
the
right. Yeah.
20,000 some years when there was still a good chunk of ice over all of Britain, even.
Yeah, but keep in mind that this phenomena is not happening just on Earth. It's happening across the entire solar system, right? And of course, the global warmers, global whatever they call themselves, those guys never talk about that. They never mention it because certainly man is not affecting the solar system, right? But and there's also the other people who believe that there is a 10th planet, ninth planet, 11th planet, 12th planet, wherever you want to call it,
Something
that
has to
is
be out there due to the
pushing in.
gravity
Right, and that's where the
that's out there.
gravitational waves would
They
come
just
from.
don't know
That's
where it
right.
is yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So there's my primer on that. So let me come back over here the other side and come in back into the chat and. Do like this. Oh, I see. You don't have an image. That's why I couldn't see it. All right. Let me check the chat real
I
quick.
don't exist.
You don't exist. Let me see here.
Mm.
You were making comments, of course. George Marchian, awesome. James Beveridge, that's a nice name. Says those that think that affecting weather in any great manner and earthquakes are possible by human means do not understand the physics of kinetic energy necessary for such activities. Sure.
Except it's not kinetic energy we're dealing with here. It's electrical energy, and electromagnetic and electrical energy can affect how you do things. And if you do it on a scale that they could have done with HARP, you could definitely cause some earthquakes. And it was shown in math how you could bounce a beam up and then have it hit the other side of the planet and actually cause these very kinds of things.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean,
And
like I said, we
that's
know.
real math, not some hocus pocus, flat earther kind of ideal. That was a bunch
Yeah.
of guys that got together and did the math. And then they even confronted the guy about it with that math, and he looked bloody guilty. And then he ends up, you know, it's just scouring away like a little. He was scared shitless kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pardon language,
Well,
but
you know,
it made
like,
him
and
look
and I
real
did
bad,
mention,
man.
and I did mention Tesla as well, as far as with the lightning and stuff. So, it's
Yeah.
not undoable. It's certainly doable. And
Well,
besides, one important thing to keep in mind, Mr. Beveridge, is that we don't really even understand how any of this works anyhow. You do have the electric universe people who are getting stronger and stronger every year, and their take on things are very, very different than the classical Newtonian concept, right?
I've had arguments here on YouTube with people in string theory, and you'll see videos with these people, and they get really good, nice looking videos and public shows and stuff. You know what the problem is? The only proof that they had that their theory exists from the Large Hadron Collider
Mhm.
test failed, which means what? It means that right now you have no proof what you're saying to me is true.
They
So
did.
why?
They
And you
created
get
a.
into that with these people, they go right crazy on you, eh?
Did you see that phenomena that happened at CERN though, with the black ring above CERN? That was pretty interesting. That's another weather phenomena right
What?
there. Yeah, yeah. That was interesting. And that's once again documented. It was even on the news over in Europe.
There
Uh,
in 2011, you remember all those orange lights everybody was seeing? There was like 3,000 sightings at night. I was one of two guys to see these things in the daytime. And I went through all the internet and everything I could find any videos on these things. And I found it at a Mexican military parade in front of thousands of people in the 90s. Little giant silver balls, just like this, flying around, and what were they doing? They were circling around like weather drones, creating the clouds doing things. Think about those long string clouds, but instead of going um, like horizontal, they go vertical. Okay, instead, and would create clouds like that. And you can't see these things unless you're at a 30-degree angle because of the chrome color they are. They
mhm.
meld right into the background like they're invisible. I was sitting there with a couple of beers with the guys outside going, you got to see this. And we can't see nothing. Come here, sit down in this chair. Now look at that angle. And they're going, holy shit, I couldn't see that before.
Yeah,
You know,
and of course that's playing a little bit into the fact that some people believe that they've built a giant
I think
refractor in space that is
it's
amplifying the
drone.
sun because the sun is in a very low source right now, and that people go really far places. Hey, doing DeWolf?
Hey,
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, let me
Hey, this
catch up with the chat.
conversation.
Yeah, let me catch up with the chat real quick. Damnation said, "I've seen a double rainbow, man. Dude, me too. They're awesome. Where's the picture of this double sun, dude? Go to the internet, search it yourself. I just showed one. They're all over the place.
Yeah, he was
Videos
showing
too.
one earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Eric says that's the double sun is Tatooine. You googling wrong planet. Thank you very much, Eric. Bottle says, "Make Anchorhead great again." Dude, I sent Bottle. I sent you a link, dude. Let me see here. Let me catch up real quick. Obi-Wan says hundreds and hundreds, but I'll just show you one. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm not trying to change your mind. You change your own damn mind, buddy. Um, got the link to that video, Chester. Nah, you can find it on YouTube though. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Damnation says trippy. That's right, man. Eric Boy says gravity waves. Chester likes waves. I do. He used to be called Wavy Gravy. Far out, man. No, I'm not Bruce Willis. No, come on. No, Wavy
Well,
Gravy wasn't Bruce Willis.
just
That was the other
just to
guy.
tap in on the gravity wave thing,
Uh
the
huh.
the biggest problem with that is that they need a machine that's 2 miles in length, like an L shape, to detect something that's two black holes colliding.
Yeah, I
So,
don't believe in black holes, dude.
it's not gravity waves. I highly
I don't
doubt it.
believe it. Gravity's not a thing. Let me see here. Obi-Wan says, "So are we trusting the Oscar data today? Are we? Sure, why not?" Tolfer says, "A lab in Wisconsin has proved string cheese theory. It's possible." Eric says, "Dude, I don't
Yeah.
sound like a hillbilly. You do now, brother." John Diller's in here. He says, "DeWolf is here. Finally, someone who doesn't blame Walt Disney for his erectile dysfunction." What? Shut up, John. God. And that catches me up. Sweet. Let me go back over the other side. Just keep in mind, guys, George is keeping an eye. So if he sees something really interesting, he'll mention it. But I'll have to come over from time to time. It's just, unfortunately, what we're dealing with right now. But DeWolf is here. So, DeWolf, say something intelligent.
Say something intelligent. Well, I'm actually doing a little bit of research just to make sure my facts are correct as far as what Dillard is mentioning. But
Oh, God.
otherwise, this whole thing. I mean, you guys already have gone
Mhm.
from what Fresnel lenses in space
Yeah.
to Tesla. I mean, we're not even started yet. Or
Yeah, I
wait,
know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It is a big
is
one.
this wait?
Mm.
Did you just start, or you start at the top of the hour?
I started at the top of the hour, of course. I'm
Oh,
always on time.
I just got the notification,
Yeah, well, it doesn't shock me at all.
and I wasn't paying attention at the time. I was doing some
Mm.
stuff. So yeah, that's
No, I'm
unfortunate.
I'm usually punctual. Usually.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
But no, I think it's an interesting, fun conversation. Of course, keep in mind the caveat needs to come out. We're just having some fun here with TFT,
Yep.
guys. We're
Yep.
having a chat about stuff. We're just having fun with it. No need to get too serious. But
Nope. Nope.
we're just looking at ideas and speculating. That's all. And it's fun. I think I've always loved conspiracy theories. I think they're fun and enjoyable. I've never taken them that seriously, but I just enjoy them. I think it's interesting the clever things people come up with. And then, of course, I always understand the simple fact that reality is stranger than fiction. And that is extremely true statement. So you never
Hmm.
know, dude. You never know.
Well, so I think what brought up this whole thing for me when I brought it up yesterday
Hmm.
was the chemtrail concept.
Yeah.
You know, so it's because I remember when I was growing up, it was the beautiful '80s, right, of
Yeah.
my childhood, and the '80s just had
That was when the
I
global
don't
warming things were just starting to
Oh,
get some traction
dude, they've
too.
been
And
was
talking
it
about
starting?
global warming since the frickin'
Well,
40s, dude. What do you, come on.
well,
well, yeah,
that's
but
not
there was a
true.
time in the '70s when everyone suddenly went, "Oh, we're gonna have an ice age."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
And
I
you
remember
remember
the
That's
ice
that
true.
too?
age.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like panic. Ah.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
then
Yeah. That's
Then
funny.
it's like
that's what I
even
remember was the ice
Battlestar
age effect.
Galactica 1978 had that ice planet thing there, and I was thinking that just sort of that time just sort of hit me in the brain there. But that's just politics to me, right? The science is different. Okay, you can go and you can look at this graph and it goes up and down and up and down. Yeah, okay, we're going up a little bit higher than usual, but that might not be unusual either. You know, it's been warmer. It's been warmer,
Oh
far
well,
warmer.
global warming is complete nonsense. At least the way it's
It's
being
just a scam.
portrayed. Yeah, it
It's
is
a
a scam.
scam on
Yeah,
from big
yeah.
business people
They
to
want to
take some money
tax
off
you
you.
for breathing.
Yep,
Yes, that's what
yep,
they're doing.
yep.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they could get away with it.
Yeah, but now, of course,
Oh yeah.
and they already have, right? So, but of course, that doesn't take away from chemtrails, as DeWolf was mentioning. So, DeWolf,
No, it doesn't.
I did bring up a
Sorry, go ahead.
Wikipedia page for it, DeWolf, but maybe you can enlighten us a little bit about chemtrails and give us more information because I'm not the expert on anything here today. Please.
Well, they were, of course, like I was saying, back in the 80s, you had just nothing in the sky like this.
Mm.
There was no, there were no, as they like to call them, persistent contrails, right?
Yeah,
Is that
Because
what it
that's
is?
a good
because they'll
word.
call,
Yeah.
they'll just say no, they're contrails, and here you can watch contrails. They stream out from behind the aircraft,
Hmm.
and then you have this effect that we're seeing today. And I think when I say today, I believe we're talking over the past 10 years or so, in which you'll have aircraft flying and they'll leave this trail and it will stay and it will expand in the sky. And then you have another one, and eventually you get this a geometric pattern. I mean, it looks like
Hmm.
they're actually just crisscrossing the sky, and then the sky becomes a covered haze. And I just like I say,
Okay.
80s and 90s, you just never saw
No,
stuff
I
like
I
this.
don't know if you were on when I was discussing a certain UFO sighting in 2011 that had also been happening in Mexico in the 90s. Okay. And one of the main features of these things was that they were interacting with clouds. And one of the things I remember reading a news article was some scientists were saying that to solve climate change without changing any of our patterns, we'd have to use these seed the clouds with some chemicals. But the problem is that if we get the mixture wrong, we end up burning the atmosphere apart. Okay, which that's not a good thing. We need this thing, right? Now I'm in my head, I'm seeing them do experiments like this, right, where they're trying to do that because white colors reflect sunlight, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just sort of a, I don't know. But I just wanted to say that while you were discussing that because I remember that was something that come out in the late 80s or early 90s kind of thing that started with these contrails.
Hmm. Well,
And then
can I ask a general question to everybody here as well as in the chat? Do you guys really think that mankind has the ability to truly impact this planet? I mean, truly.
That that's a good question. Yeah, how much can we possibly do that will affect the world in this global scale? And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
now, when you're thinking about that, remember all the nuclear bomb tests that we've done on this planet and the amount of bloody heat that would have tacked off, and that they in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and how they weren't worried about it then.
No, and it
Okay,
hasn't had any effect at all.
how could we people do something equivalent to that?
Yeah, and they were
That's what
putting
Well,
I'm
up
yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
hundreds of those missiles in the
Yeah,
50s, dude.
you look at how many
Hundreds.
tests they done. Holy,
And that
Then there's
yeah,
the ash effect, and how
yeah.
it cools
yeah.
down because Mount St. Helens, it actually cooled down the Earth. It caused some weather changes and things to occur, much more than when our nuclear test that happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
oh
have big
yeah,
earthquakes
and
that'll
they've
actually
got more proof of things like
shift
that
the
in the
earth a little
past.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
70,000 years ago, there was a Mount Tobo event that erupted in the Philippines or somewhere around there, and
Hmm.
just about wiped all life out. You know, And yet they go and they look back there, they find that human beings were able to live there even after that.
Yeah, and of course the most important thing that is a big event you're talking about in Indonesia, um, and
Yeah.
um, uh, and the thing that's interesting about it is the world survived. People are still
Yeah.
here.
If we
Hummingbirds
got hit with an
fly.
asteroid,
Yeah,
they say there's too many of us that we would still survive. That's the reality.
yeah.
Okay.
So it is.
Don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. And of course, we have a lot of evidence that's coming up now, especially in the past decade, where they've, of course, the Great Flood or the Great Cataclysm has been become academic now, which of course a lot of people in the sciences hate that. But
Oh, I know they
it
do.
is what it is. They've proven it, and we know the devastation that happened over that 700-year period. And of course, a lot of it happened in one day or a few
They
days,
found a
really.
huge asteroid impact
Oh yeah,
in northern Canada or something like that that
oh yeah.
would have caused a lot of water and ice to suddenly flow.
That's right.
And
And
that's where that guy. See, now while I don't agree with everything certain scientists, even I don't know what you call it, YouTube scientists say, at least he was right about reporting that,
yeah, and
right?
of
Where
course,
the mainstream didn't want to do it,
and in the
you
in the
know.
Carolinas, they found thousands of little hits. They're all over the planet. But my point being is that even that most recent great cataclysm that we had, and there's been many, we're all still here. The animals are still here. We're here, and so even these just ridiculously global level attacks from space or from natural events have not managed to hurt this planet. But yet you think we little old humans in our little putt putt cars are going to do something? Really?
No,
It's
not
silly.
on the effect, not in the degree that they're saying. There's something else going on then if that they're not telling us that they're doing otherwise because like I saw on NASA's website one day, I was searching around, and then at the bottom left, in the small little NASA scientist says the atmosphere is burning off more than we thought. Hey, wait a minute. What? What's burning our atmosphere off? First of all, right? Like
Well,
seriously,
the
what
ozone
is what
thing.
is causing
Oh yeah,
that?
yeah,
And you click on the article, and then suddenly it goes somewhere, and it doesn't talk about it, and next day it's gone.
yeah. Well, that happens a
Chester,
lot.
if you if you take a lab environment and you
Uh
take
huh.
plants and you put them in an environment that is a little bit warmer and has higher levels of CO2, what happens?
They die.
Uh,
No,
no,
they
they don't. They
thrive.
they thrive.
Well, it
They
And if
depends
you
on the
add
type
if
of.
thrive.
you add red and blue light, they even like it better.
Yeah,
It depends.
Mhm.
You know.
so why aren't we seeing a proliferation of plantlet growth? If the CO2 levels are rising, that
Mhm.
plants would be loving it.
Yeah,
Actually, we
why
are.
why is the that
There,
coral dying off,
there,
right?
there actually is a more global greening going on, and plants are becoming more prolific, and they're enjoying it, and it's a good thing. It means more food production.
Absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
I've also heard too that now there are more trees than there were in the 50s.
Well, that
Right?
has to
Yeah.
do with
So,
programs, dude. There's a lot of programs
mhm.
involved in that. But don't forget, the Amazon is
No.
burning.
I understand that. I understand it's that we've replanted trees, but that's my part of the point I'm trying to make is that the
The plants take in the CO2 and give out the oxygen. So, in
Uh,
fact, if there were more trees, that would be the opposite effect. So, if the CO2 still keeps going up, then there's and
the,
I did one of the UFO debunks that I did was about plate tectonics and ocean levels, and it showed that a city in Peru that was 12 miles inland and 2 miles up the side of a mountain that had a dock system for boats was not a UFO landing site, but was in fact sitting on the coast of Peru at about 100,000 years ago. The problem with that is there's no humans supposed to have been there that time.
oh yeah,
Okay,
those are
and this was
interesting.
one
I
of
like
those
those.
things where you go, well, if the plate slipped a lot more a couple times, you could get it there earlier, right? But
Mhm.
still, you're still way off,
There
right?
is there is one major problem with the conversation you guys are having right now, which is a major problem with the global warming in general. The problem we
That we
have
got to believe
is
the scientist data.
no, well, no, the data we have, the
That's
actual
one thing.
data, the real data, shows that CO2 levels are actually quite low.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, see, that's a
Well,
problem. It throws a wrench in the whole thing.
well,
But
then, like I said, more trees. That's taking all that in. What could be causing that? Well, like you were saying with the solar system, if the rest of the solar system is warming up, that's the solar cycle of the sun. Then.
it is. It is, and we know there's a 400-year cycle on the sun, and we're actually supposed to be coming into a cool down period. If you guys remember, the mini ice age was about 400 years ago. Oh, cycles. But hold on a second here. I'm going to Wikipedia, the source of all information, the most amazing thing on the planet, and
Back to chemtrails. Yeah.
yeah, getting back to chemtrails now. Hold on a second. Let me get through this here. Chemtrail conspiracy theory. I love Wikipedia for one particular reason. They are written to be as disrespectful to your opinion as possible. It's wonderful. This article is about the conspiracy theory. It's not to be confused with cloud seeding, crop dusting, or contrail. Chemtrails redirect here. Thank you. The chemtrail conspiracy theory is based on the erroneous belief that long-lasting condensation trails are chemtrails consisting of chemicals or biological agents left in the sky by high-flying aircraft, sprayed for nefarious purposes or positive. We don't know. They could be trying to save us. Undisclosed to the general public. Believers in this conspiracy theory say that while normal contrails dissipate relatively quickly, which they do, contrails that linger may contain additional substances, which people have actually tested. Those who subscribe to this theory speculate that the purpose of chemtrail release by may be solar radiation management, weather modification, psychological manipulation, human population control,
Oh yeah, that's the good one.
or
Yum yum.
biological or chemical warfare, and that the trails are causing respiratory illnesses and other health problems. Now, there's nothing in here that's going to be helpful because everything here is basically saying you're an idiot and screw off. And I love Wikipedia. They don't care about your opinion. They're just going to laugh at you and point like that Simpson kid.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
no sense of ha ha or fun, eh?
Right.
Yeah,
Not at
they
all,
their
dude.
their point is to try to shame you out of your
Yes.
opinion.
Yes. That
Ah,
is exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
one of these
funny too.
things.
and yet, the actual scientists actually said that doing exactly what they say is a conspiracy was something that may actually have to be done if the Earth were to warm up and we weren't able to cool it down quick enough.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
actually, that was in the news on mainstream news years ago.
Yeah.
So yet it's born from something factual where they then try to make people,
Mhm, mhm. Let
yeah,
let me
whatever.
let me read the harp one too, because the harp one is
Yeah, the
just
harp
it's
one's good.
precious. It's precious. Here we go. Rational wiki. This is the rational wiki. It's not a normal wiki. This is the smart people's wiki. All right, here we go. The High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, HARP, is a ha 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 joke scientific research program designed to study the ionosphere of the Earth and its effects on communication. The HARP facility is essentially a large radio transmitter antenna located in Alaska, yada, yada, yada. Some scientists have criticized HARP because it's been used to conduct classified experiments. Oh no. And they fear a similar device using more energy could be used as a weapon. Oh no. Oh, here we go. It's attraction, and this is wonderful. Just let's soak this up. Soak it up, baby. Here we go. Its attraction to conspiracy theorists is overextended budget and its sweeping scope make HARP crankery similar to that generated more recently about the Large Hadron Collider. They did nothing wrong. CERN did nothing wrong. Nothing to see here. But of course, it goes on like that. I just love it, dude, because it's like
I know, eh?
screw you and your opinion, right?
Because when we like one of my friends confronted the head of HARP in a parking lot, those little garages with the cars.
Yeah,
They brought a whole film crew and they got this guy and they cornered him and started asking him about scientific questions towards it, and he looked so damn guilty. It was
yeah,
perfect. It was like
yeah.
you could not ask for any, and it was like a couple weeks later, it blew up in the news, and then they shut the thing down. And they did it for 10 years or 12 years until Sarah Palin got back in power over there, and then they turned it back on for some reason.
Well, the thing I find interesting about the HARP conversation is that they blame, they say there's so much more horrible, violent hurricanes and horrible weather. They're experimenting and attacking countries and this kind of nonsense. Because is that's not even true. It's not. We're
There's a
not. We're not in any particular high weather time right now. I mean, go back to the 70s. There was far more vicious weather going on than it is right now. I mean, it's cyclical. It comes and goes, man. I just
oh
love
yeah,
how every year
hurricanes.
they're saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is the most hurricanes we've ever had. Oh my God, it's hotter than ever." No, it's not. No, it's not. What are you talking about, you lying bastards? Right? I mean,
Well, I mean, I live up in Canada, so I can say where I used to live over in a little town called Pontypool, and it's like where these two major highways come together. That's just like 100 people, and we all lived on farms. And back in the 70s, there were 20-foot high snowbanks on the sides of the roads. You don't see those anymore, and you haven't for years now.
right.
I, but that doesn't mean that it's just because the world's getting warmer or something. It could just very well be that a solar cycle comes along, and then you see it that way,
It could also be
right?
localized because we know there's
Well,
parts
that's what I
of
mean too, right?
well, yeah, because there's parts of Alaska which actually have less snow than they did before. There's other parts of Alaska that have more snow than usual.
Yeah.
Greenland is certainly seeing some
Hey,
melting on. I
the
can't remember. Is it
Sahara
the
used to be a
east or?
jungle, man.
Well, for a short
Thousands of years
period,
ago.
yeah, for a short period. But Greenland is having a loss on one of its coasts, but yet gain on the other. I'm not sure. I think it's the east. It's East Coast is losing. Someone actually could clarify that for me.
Yeah,
But at
like
the
there's
same
more. What
time,
is there ends up being more ice in the North Pole than on the South Pole. The South Pole is losing lots of ice, but the North Pole is
no,
gaining
no,
even
that's quite the opposite. South Pole
more.
is
It's
actually
one of the ways
gaining.
around to switch
Yeah,
around or
it's
something like.
Antarctic. It's gaining quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So why is one side of the Earth getting more and the other side not?
yeah, it's an interesting
It's
conversation.
The
because the northern
rotation is slowed down.
hemisphere
Go
is
ahead,
pointed
DeWolf.
more toward the sun.
The Earth's rotation is slowed down,
Well, it's tilted.
That's what it
If you
is.
take the tilt of the Earth, the northern hemisphere
and
is
it's
more
confused.
likely to be hit by the sun's rays.
Yeah, possibly, but you do realize that we are in the middle, the midst of a polar shift. I mean, the magnetic pole, by the way, it is moving
That's
more and more
another thing.
south every year, and it happens all the time, guys. It's nothing to be worried about at all. We have documented this
Not the
with
magnetic pole
geology.
thing.
Well,
Well, I
no,
wouldn't say all the
the
time.
The
magnetic
magnetic
shift has
pole shift
happened
happened every quarter
dozens and
million
dozens of
years.
times. It's been documented,
It
dude.
has not happened in 750,000 years, and they are saying that they can tell this from how rocks that were coming up from volcanoes were magnetized when they come out.
Yeah, and
And that
no,
was
it's
on
not
a
not
National Geographic
750,
kind of
dude.
show, and they're all
We had a shift less than 40,000 years ago,
But not
geologically.
one during
uh,
modern times. And that's the
no,
an
that
issue with our electronics today and
the last
aviation.
time that
That is an issue.
you're talking about a solar flare, DeWolf. That's a big difference from the Earth's magnetic shield, right? That's done from the center of the core of the Earth, where that field comes out. Okay,
No,
at the
I'm
North
not
and South
talking
Pole.
about a solar flare.
No, he's not.
I'm talking about a
But
polar magnetic shift.
exactly,
Well,
and of
that
course,
because
in
the
DeWolf and I's lifetime, or at least the lifetime of
magnetic
our
field doesn't
children.
affect your electronics.
Well,
A
yeah,
solar flare would.
but here's the thing. Solar flare is a different conversation, and it can be quite devastating to our electronics, sure. But this
Yes.
polar shift is going to happen in our lifetime, at least the lifetime of our children. And what's it going to do? Well, it's going to make the north south and south north. And I'm kind of wondering if they'll even bother doing
Doesn't
anything about it, because that's
what the
about it. It's
scientists
not going to
what
affect
the
us.
so-called scientists say, Chester, is that what they've discovered over the course of studying rocks of millions of years is that in between these polar shifts, it doesn't just flip right away like you're thinking. It
Oh,
goes
no, it
away
takes
for about
time.
1,000 years. So 1,000 years, the Earth
Ah,
has no magnetic shield.
I don't think so. I
Okay,
think it happens
that's
over the
what they
matter of
say.
decades,
I
actually.
saw that right on. It was like, you had a whole bunch of scientists talking about this thing in a field, and they're showing you the science of how they're testing the rocks and various rocks, and they even showed where some rocks had no magnetic field. Okay, when they
Okay.
came out, they showed that, and that's why and we still can't say that that's going to happen because it hasn't happened now in 3/4 of a million years.
Yeah,
We're
but see,
late,
my point
real
is,
late.
it doesn't matter anyway. Is kind of my point. It
Well,
isn't going to
But it
change
does
anything really.
matter.
you can't do nothing about that
But you
Right.
can't
at all.
also say
At
that there's
all.
no magnetic pole because that the rocks themselves aren't magnetic. Because just like scientists, where they get things wrong, they don't have all the data. We
You're
don't have
missing
all the data.
True.
you're
So you
missing
don't
how
know
what
at
I'm
what
talking
point
about though.
you don't know at what point that rock was magnetized or
Yes,
demagnetized.
you
And
do.
that
When
happens
the
when you got
rocks
high
are
heat
hot,
stuff going on.
they don't hold magnetism. Okay.
This is
When they
true.
start to cool, they get magnetized. Okay. And they get magnetized at the current poles of the time they came out. If a rock comes out and there's no magnetic field on it, that means at that point, at that place, there was no magnetic field there. In fact, you
That's
can
not
go right
entirely true.
now and you can check that stuff out. But that's neither here nor there. Like
No, that's
you can't do nothing about it. There, it's going
I'm
to
about
go
to get
away.
upset about this, and we're going to get a whole lot more viewers.
yeah. Well, just
Yeah,
a quick little blacksmithing point. How you know when you're ready to quench your metal, whatever it is you're working on, it's when it no
Family
longer
show.
carries a magnetic effect. So interesting. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the point I've been trying to make for the past 10 minutes is that the sea levels are actually down worldwide.
really?
Yeah,
Never checked on them lately.
yeah.
I think
So,
it's just something everyone does. Hey, let's check the sea level today.
well, I mean, it's
Wait,
part of the
does Venice
conversation,
have
right?
roads again?
No, I didn't know that. You would think with all the warming and crap they're talking about that it'd be up, not down. And
You
like
would
there's
think.
stories on Venice flooding and stuff like that in the
Yeah,
news,
but
and you're like,
Venice has been falling under the structures of Venice have been falling under the water for a long time, and that comes down with the
yeah,
government not spending the money they need just to support that structure up. Because basically, it's a man-built floating wooden
yeah.
or stone structure, is what it
What's that
is.
place in
Has nothing to
Europe
do with
that's
world
underwater?
water. It's Venice, yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
it has nothing to
no,
do.
I mean the other side there by France. There's not Belgium, Netherlands, or one of the cities along the coastline on the British side there
Yeah,
is actually
as
underwater
long as
too.
it's something French, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with
It
that.
was Dutch or I can't remember. I
Yeah. Yeah, let me catch up with the
eh.
chat real quick, dude. Curious 2A says nurseries internationally pump CO2 into greenhouses to make the plants grow faster. Of course they do. That's basic science. We all studied it in school. It's called photosynthesis. Zachary Walter says they also talk about how there is an island of plastic bottles in the ocean that is so big that you can see it from space. It's the size of Australia. But notice how they never show pictures of this supposed island. And also notice how that was debunked a long time ago and they still talk about it. Straws in turtles' noses,
Hmm.
baby.
You know
Uh,
why they show you pictures of that? Because they don't want that being seen out there where you're going to want to do anything about it,
because it
right?
doesn't exist, dude. That's why they don't
Of course.
show it. It doesn't exist. The guy was
I've
lying.
seen
He
one
was it
picture of
was
something like
debunked
that,
a
and it looked
long
about the
time ago,
size of
dude.
maybe my
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah, but
You know,
I'm sure there's little
that's
things.
that's hardly a problem.
Well,
Scoop it up.
after Tohoku, there was certainly a debris field because of the size of
Oh
that tsunami, but it was a lie. And of course, with that, and on top of the straw in turtles' noses, we now have paper straws. I've seen it. And the funny thing
Did you
about it,
hear all
it's
the
more
crap about
wasteful. Oh, hold on a second. It's more wasteful than a plastic straw because a plastic straw gets recycled and used again. Paper straws just get thrown away. See?
Well,
It's
did,
like those
did you hear
stupid
that stuff
Priuses,
about
man.
Vancouver and Canada crying about after the
Paper
the
straw.
the, the
Stupid trees.
issue with that nuclear reactor in Japan there, how they were saying radioactive stuff is coming up on the coastline. Where were these people in the 60s when all the atomic bombs are going off in the water? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like,
No, that's true.
like you
Yeah,
know,
the
you
Bikini
should
Atoll.
all
as
be
young
glowing
kids.
green by now
It
by
makes
that
Godzilla,
effect.
That's verified. But Eric Boyd says, hold on, I'm almost done with the chat. Eric Boyd says, the topics of holes in the ozone layer has been around for a long time. Chester likes holes, donut holes. Damn right, baby. But here's the thing about the ozone layer. Have you heard the news recently? They say we're soon, within the next so many time, this year or something like next year, the ozone layer will be completely closed and healed. Did you hear that? Everybody clap. Clap for the ozone layer.
Yay.
It's healed. It's
Yay.
healed. Yay.
Yeah, and you know what else? You know what else, Dillard? Walt Disney
Dillard.
was a Mason, and he promoted the Demolay. That's why I don't talk about him. So, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I just had to answer Dillard.
Don't mess with the Masons. They're behind every conspiracy theory. They'll get you.
I don't want my silver strand cut.
No
By the way.
comment.
Damn right.
No
Yeah,
comment.
You don't want
No
that happening
comment.
for sure.
That's right.
Anyway, this is an interesting conversation, of course.
It's going
Chemtrails.
crazy.
Huh?
It's crazy. What do you mean?
It is crazy, but it's interesting, right? I think it is, because I don't care what they want to kind of dissuade you from. Chemtrails are a thing. Now, what they are and
So,
why, we
and,
don't know, but they're real. That's for damn
and what's
sure.
funny is that there was the conspiracy theory out there about how the chemtrails were supposed to alter your mind and subdue the populations and things like this. And okay, that seems kind of odd for a government. It's poison its citizens. That is kind of weird. And
Mm,
then
you
and then in
understand
the
that Project Wildfire is actually an actual thing from the U.S. military, and that they actually put it in a movie too.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and it was about an alien life form that they found and took under the ground, and all that's what the movie was about. But there actually is a thing where like Project Paperclip, it's restricted access and all that stuff.
Yeah,
These things are just out there where there's very little that you're going to learn from it, because whatever documents either don't exist anymore or they're buried where you're never going to find them.
well,
but then officials and UN officials came right out and said, "Well, we must
Oh, they
do
can't do that. They can't. Look at the panic that
weather
caused, man.
manipulation in order to affect the weather because of global warming." And what they've said is they're using particleized aluminum and stuff to reflect the light back out into the space.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: we've been
Aluminum. What's
told
that
that
to your brain?
aluminum is bad for us for several years now, and that all these aluminum things getting into our body causes Alzheimer's.
Yep.
Then they're going to come right out and say they're putting it right into the atmosphere.
But here's the thing: they've actually, if you look at some science news on treating Alzheimer's, they've actually gotten to the point where they're able to mitigate a lot of what the problem is there.
Oh yeah, I've heard that they can stop it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard or
Yeah.
seen that yet, but like I've heard there's 2 cures for lung cancer. It's just that the 2 cures are so expensive that nobody ever gets them. Okay. One of them is an Israeli cure and the other one's an American one. And the Israeli one just got invented and is a little bit cheaper than the American one.
The pharmacies
little
don't want to
things
heal.
like this.
Dude, the pharmaceutical
And it was all
industry
done
doesn't
from a
want to heal you
1950s
of anything,
experiment
dude. They want you to
a
be
US
sick.
guy on a military boat. How he took cancer and he made a chemical that made the cancer not want to grow anymore.
You
And
got
it
to
was
smoke or what?
well, I mean, I smoke, but
Oh, he
Well,
did coffee.
Here's
Country growth.
here's
like,
the
what do you-
thing. Here's the
what?
thing with chemtrails, though. I would say when we get into the psychological aspect, I would say that the big gulp has had more to dull the senses of Americans than any kind of chemtrail.
Whoa.
And I'm Canadian, and every once in a while, us Canadians get into some arguments with Americans. And one of the things that I bring up is there's a website that tracks your science, math, and reading abilities for each year.
Mhm.
And you can actually go back 15, 20 years, and Americans were sitting in the above 20, let's say, and an average. Now you're sitting down a low and around 40 or 30s. Now that would say you got more stupid, which isn't the case. It just means more people are being educated and you have more competition to be smart. That's what it really means. But when you're talking to a troll, it's great to use that. And that's how you can use statistics in an improper way to show what you want to do. And that's something that is not really addressed in a lot of these things, right?
Yeah, yeah. And 17% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Yep.
There you go.
I just
You
made
just
5 of them today.
That's what I mean, right? So when you're looking at all that kind of stuff, you gotta gauge that, right? How is this information coming to me? How can I actually verify that this is true or not too? And if you look back at a lot of these documentaries on science and everything else, they dumb it down so bad
Oh,
that I don't know. Like, is this made for a 5-year-old to watch?
I don't know. I don't know,
Because
DeWolf. Tell me
you
what
know,
is the because I haven't been in the states in a long time. What is the average IQ in the states right now?
Oh, well, IQ level is a cognitive possibility. It's not really
that's
a
100
Yeah,
is
level
no,
the
of
I
average,
I
right?
agree with
Isn't
that
level
that
of
how
actually.
smart.
that works?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what you're asking is what is the education level
sure.
and the
Oh,
ability
Yeah,
for children
yeah,
nowadays, regular people, millennials to think? It's low because they're just not teaching children to think, period. Right? And what they're telling them how to think in a convoluted way, right? It's no longer whether you can think or not. It's whether or not you can follow what someone else is telling you and if that's appropriate. That's why you have social concepts being applied to math, right?
yeah.
Numbers don't care if they're red, blue, if they're male and female, but nowadays you have to ask numbers what they want to be. And that's what's the problem currently.
that's where it falls apart,
That is
right?
a
Yeah.
Like
weird
for
phenomena. Yeah, it is weird.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You have to check. You can't check your math like we were told that this number and this number is this number, and you can check it, and you can cross the math. You can do the x and flip the x over on the other side, take it away. You know, so they don't get that. What they're told is whether you have to check with authority. You have to check with the authority figure, and they will tell you how to discern the answer. And
yeah.
that's the problem right there.
Well,
That
the other
yeah,
thing is
yeah.
that all this social media, you just you can ask a friend or you can ask YouTube, right? Like you can go to Google search, right? I don't need to do as much research, but on the flip side, you can get wrong stuff in those things too. And I this is where I kind of can sympathize with the ability of some places to want to try and get rid of fake news or wrong science. And it's why I don't troll like a pretend flat earther anymore just for fun, because it doesn't help anybody when you do stuff like that. When it's not right, you know. You can go outside and I can show you how you can tell the earth is round. All you need is a stick and to make sure that there's no clouds over that day. Okay? It's logic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Earth is not flat. Although those people are very upset with me for saying it was.
I
DeWolf,
know.
they were very
I know.
upset with me. But
Oh,
hold
I
on a
know.
second. Let me check this
It's
right here.
awful, isn't it?
It is awful, dude. Dave says
How
that
come there
his
are hills if it's a flat Earth, right?
exactly. Dave says his father is a 32nd degree Freemason. Watch out. Curious 2A says, have you
Really, eh?
heard of Operation Popeye? No, I
A friend
haven't,
of mine's
dude.
the son of the guy that's the 33rd dude over in Scotland there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There is. They say they go above that. DeWolf would know, but he couldn't tell us because he'd have to kill us. So let's not ask.
Well, I'm not saying anymore.
Yeah, don't say anything else. Yeah, just watch yourself. But I don't know what Operation Popeye is. Curious. Why don't you tell us? Nick C says, how does this fit in with Plasma? You know what? We should do Plasma Universe on TFT, dude, because that's
Yeah,
something
that
I do know a
plasma's
lot
a
about.
really cool state of matter, isn't it?
It is, but I also think with those scientists that are with the Electric Universe groups that get bigger every year, I think they're on to something, dude. Because what they're doing is see gravity sciences you can't test it in a laboratory without killing lots of people, right? But You can take the
Hmm.
electric universe sciences and test them in the laboratory and prove them right or wrong. Good old fashioned science. And those guys are having a lot of success with stuff. So I think we should talk about the plasma universe on TFT. I think it'd be fun. Eric says Operation Popeye was a highly classified weather modification program in Southeast Asia during 1967 and 1972. We're talking about cloud seeding, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was one of the ones where they were starting to think about whether manipulation is a
Hmm.
probable, you know, use for it. Not so much
Well,
as a weapon at that point, right? Like the whole idea of HARP as
right,
a
because
weapon
they
is
can
that
use it
you're
as a weapon.
beaming that high energy beam on an angle where it bounces off the ionosphere and then hits the Earth with an impact, okay, of electrons that if there's enough of them, that it would cause the Earth to shake at that point, right? And that's you can do that if you have the right type of beam and the right angle. And the thing is, they don't have the setup to do that, but them doing the testing of all this equipment with that type of thing, that's a fear that you could use it for.
Yeah. Well,
And that was where that whole the harp thing comes to, right?
well, if you
That's
if you if you put it here very clearly, if you can control the weather, particularly manipulating water, right, in the end, right, with tsunamis or rain, flooding and stuff, that is devastating weapon because there is
mm-hmm.
nothing more terrifying than water. Nothing.
Well, and you know what? What you can also do is use the cloud seeding or chemtrails in order to put more material up there that will react with HARP and get a
Yes,
better effect.
yes,
Ah,
that's
maybe.
correct.
Oh,
You could use it to
ooh, DeWolf.
You're welcome.
let's say you
Thank you.
wanted to use the beam on the other side of the Earth. You cloud seed, which has those aluminum particles in it, and if it's at the right frequency, the beam would just bounce off that, bounce back up to that ionosphere. It'd be like a pinball, boing, 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 boing,
So
right?
you telling me the American government caused Tohoku? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know.
Damn it!
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey,
Maybe.
it is interesting conversation. I think we touched the
I mean,
surface on
that's
this
out
stuff.
there, right? Like
Yeah.
they've done other things that are out there before that people thought no, they didn't do this, right? Look
Hmm.
what the Nazis were up to back in the World War II. They were actually making swept wing aircraft. They were just talking about those things,
Oh yeah.
right? They look like the big the stealth fighters that you have today. I
Oh
mean, they
yeah.
had
No,
those in
that's
the,
true.
so, and they had little aircraft. You had the Canadians with the Abro Aero fighter craft, but did you know there was an Abro car, which looked like a flying saucer to me? They came one
Oh yeah,
day,
yeah.
collected it all, took it back to the States, and that was it.
Oh yeah. America's pretty good at kind of flexing their muscles.
We'll go hide it up here in Canada. If someone's
Yeah.
going to tell, we'll go and get it.
All right. Well, um, I think we pretty much covered this general idea pretty quite clearly. We could go on and on and on, but I think we've covered it enough for today. And I do think that we'll have a conversation. We'll decide what we'll do next week. But I think what this show has done more than anything is shown us of several topics we can cover. And I think that was the biggest benefit from today. I do appreciate Kronos coming on
Yep,
and
no
being able to
problem.
hear your voice for the first time. I don't think I've ever spoken to you before.
I don't think we've been in a live chat together. No, I don't think
No,
so.
that's awesome, dude.
Uh,
I love
yeah,
having you guys come in and meet
great
new
being here.
people. Yeah, it's cool, dude. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good
Uh,
deal.
yeah.
Yep.
And any of you guys want to come in and give your opinion, please do, man. That's what we want.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
good little community, everybody.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming in. Thank you for George for being present. Hi, George.
Greetings.
He's awake. See, well, you never know because see, when Todd is here, you know when he's sleeping. We can hear it, right? George, he's like stealthy. It's hard to know, right? And of
He's a
course, DeWolf,
redneck man.
DeWolf as well for coming in and giving. He loves this kind of stuff, and I think he's here just to kind of keep an eye on us. He is a Mason assassin. Just keep that in mind. But other than that,
Yeah, I wanted to get earlier. Like I said, I lost track of time. Wanted to get earlier. So,
well, that's all right.
but that's right. You guys are doing a great job. It's some good stuff.
Well, let me go down the line and like give everybody their last comments. Let's start with Kronos. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, like for the 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 one thing to remember about all this is to make sure you always get some verified facts before you're making a judgment on your opinion. And I guess that's basically it.
Yeah, that's
Oh
good
yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Namaste, indeed. Go ahead, DeWolf.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. I'm just going to promote myself because Flying Sidecar Press is out on Twitter. It's at Light and World as well. So then there's my name, Todd DeWolf, on Facebook, and so I've changed that banner up to reflect some of the artwork that we have going on, and that's going to be free to all to help promote the upcoming book. It just looks amazing. I think everybody's going to be pleased with it.
Mhm.
Hang in there with us in this next coming year, and get your hands on it. It's going to be great.
Sweet, dude.
One of the good things I'll say is that in the new year, I'll finally be able to have maybe a couple bits of bucks to get around to a couple of you I wanted to support. That I've had a rough year. I never really
Oh yeah,
go on about it, but yeah, you have those little eh, things
Yep.
happen to you all the
Oh,
time. So
sure.
whatever.
And many
Yeah.
of us have wives.
Well, yeah. I'm not even
Those
going to get into
those
that.
things happen to us too, you know. But anyway, George, closing comments, sir.
Yeah, Dwarf, put your Twitter link in the chat. That'd be great. And
and
Chester,
Yeah.
uh, what are we going to be talking about next week? The Clintons and global warming?
I know you want us to talk about the Clintons, but dude, it's too short a
Oh,
conversation. Let's talk about it right now. The Clintons kill people. Oh, finish,
I've
George.
got some
It's over.
stories for you guys. If you really want to hear a story where,
No, we don't. We
um,
don't. No, do not
Oh,
encourage George. That's a general
oh,
rule.
we'll
I
talk,
just, I
George.
just want
We'll
to, I
talk.
just want,
We'll talk.
I just want to, I just want to Epstein the entire
Oh
account.
God. No, you know what I think we are going to do next week, actually,
Prince
is
Andrew.
plasma. I think we're going to do the electric universe,
Plasma?
dude.
Plasma?
Yeah, seriously.
That'd be cool.
I think it's time to talk about it. I think that's one of the things that came out of today that needs to get a deep dive because that's something I know a lot about. I know the physics
Mm.
of that very clearly, and I think we could have a really good conversation. So keep it. We will do that. Decision made. There you go. Executive decisions, even. I get to make those
whoa.
occasionally. And so, if any of you guys are really knowledgeable about the electric universe or just simply plasma science in general, please get in touch with me with the Twitter down below. And whether you be pro or against, actually, I'd love to have somebody who's against it and really wants to come in and defend the gravity model. I think that would be awesome because trust me,
Hmm.
I will be defending the plasma model 100%. So if any of you guys are no, if any of you guys are really into that and know about the physics on that, please contact me. I think
Oh,
we're going
don't
to have
make
a.
me brush up on quantum mechanics
You
on you
better get
there,
on it
Chester.
because
Oh
I'm
boy.
brushed up, baby.
Listen, I went head to toe with the people that have been on TV for quantum mechanics, and they were a nasty bunch. Let me tell you, I'm not kidding you. And all I did was say, look, your so-called proof, it failed.
Oh well,
You
science
know,
is scientists are
it's pretty exact.
notoriously troublesome. Yeah, it's wonderful. Anyway, guys, thank you all very much. Thank you guys for being here. We do appreciate you. Do keep in mind that tomorrow we have the California show, of course, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just comics news. We'll be talking about all the things going on, and then of course on Tuesday we will continue the Moonshea adventure, and that was pretty cool. What's going on with that? I know it's very niche, but if you're into that kind of storytelling and Dungeons and Dragons in general, check it out, man. But other than
Oh,
that,
Chester, just
yeah.
an aside there for you. If you look at my site or
Hmm.
channel, it's got some stuff where I use the Unreal Engine and can do some free stuff, right?
Oh, I've seen
I
that
mean, if you
actually.
want to talk to me someday and say, could you do this for something that I could show the guys and do like, I'd do that for nothing just so I get some practice, you know?
Oh, well, cool. I
Like you
mean,
wanted a scene or something, done, you know?
well, I have seen your stuff. You've shown it off for sure. And
Yeah, yeah.
why is this doing this? Hold on a second. Stop it.
What?
Why is this doing this
Yeah, I'm having a
in
little
a
bit of trouble
world
here.
where
Hold
Oh,
on.
Chester has trouble?
I fixed it. It's fixed. All right, thank you. But yeah, no, I've seen your stuff actually. You've shown that to me for a year. I've been seeing that kind of stuff, and that is cool,
They're
dude. If you
getting
guys
better.
get some, you need some kind of 3D modeling or any kind of graphic type stuff, Kronos is definitely does that kind of thing, dude. You actually put a submission in for the our icon contest we
That
had
was a
back.
while back.
That was
I
over a
was
year ago.
using 10-year-old software with that, where I was limited in what I could do with it, right? And I've
Hmm.
since migrated to stuff that's like the Blender
Hmm.
piece of software and using the Unreal Engine. And with what you can do with Unreal Engine is just amazing. Like
It is,
some of the
yeah.
Disney special effects you see and the movies you see, it's all the same tools, and they give it out to us for free.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, and once you start making money, they go up to 3 grand, and then you got to pay us some money. And
Well,
that's a good little, just starting out. I'm just mucking around, right?
yeah, sure. I mean, and
So,
I think it's really cool that the community has people that have skill in so many different areas. I mean, you got
Wow.
like
well,
Yeah.
look at
George
you
and
got,
Model, who can
yeah.
use
I was just
mosaic
gonna
and
say
stuff, and
model.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
impressive. But we got a bunch of people. We even got model builders like JP and things like that. So
Yep.
it's a great community. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. We will check you out tomorrow. And Kronos is our guest. So Kronos, namaste us out, baby.
Thank you very much. Later.
Oh, no, you have to give us a namaste moment. I need to be able to
Oh,
say
what?
namaste.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
Give us words of enlightenment, sir.
Oh, enlightenment. Oh boy. Oh, you caught me on the spot there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Live long and prosper.
Sweet. Who can do the Vulcan sign? I could do it with both hands same
There
time,
we
baby.
go. There
Namaste.
you go.
See you
Later.
soon, Ty.
Night.